Whenever we talk about fossil fuel technologies and their clean technology replacements, there's sure to be a culture war pretty close behind in Australia. We've heard about the $100 roast, of course, and we're going to take away the utes. Well, now it seems we're going to be taking away the barbecue tongs. Apparently, that is in relation to the debate about gas. Now, what this particular video is really about is the death spiral for gas. Gas, we are told, is clean. It's even got a marketing term, natural gas.
Natural gas is an energy resource which has been used for over 100 years. It burns cleanly and efficiently, having the lowest carbon intensity of all fossil fuels.
But it has a brutal and unfortunate reality in that it is actually highly polluting. It has very high emissions thanks to a lot of the methane leakage from the gas wells, which are not properly recorded, but it's also having impact on consumers quite directly. A Climate Council report is out this week which talks about the impact on children, particularly with asthma, with gas appliances in the household. And they're in almost every household. There's gas cookers like this one, there's gas heating, and there is gas hot water systems. They're very, very popular, but we need to move them out. One state government has been thinking about that. It's the ACT government. They've already reached the equivalent of 100% renewable power for their electricity grids. So now they're thinking about where else they can reduce emissions. Well, there's electric vehicles, but there's also the gas network. They've made a couple of rulings. No more gas pipelines in new suburbs and no new connections for gas in new houses in other suburbs. What this means is that the pipeline network that has been built there will no longer last 50 or 80 years. It will probably last maybe 15 or 30 years. And the question is, who's going to pay for it? A new regulatory ruling has given approval to that network to fast track the repayments by consumers. Basically saying, let's get as much money out of the consumers as we can now while they're still connected to the grid, because pretty soon a lot of them are going to be leaving the grid, particularly when they replace their gas appliances with electric appliances. And that's going to leave fewer people paying for the established network. Well, a big question which never seems to be broached is, well, why not write down the value of all this infrastructure that we don't actually need anymore, rather than hitting up the consumers with higher bills? It's another complicated part of the energy transition. We did actually think this was going to happen for the electricity grid, but fascinatingly, all these new technologies, batteries, electric vehicles, virtual power plants, demand response schemes, means that we've actually decided that the grid's a pretty cheap battery and maybe most people should stay connected, and that's probably what will happen. But that probably won't be the case with gas because there's no natural alternative. Meanwhile, the Victorian government is also pursuing its own strategies to reduce its gas component. That's really important for it because it's now got a 50% emissions reduction target for 2030, and that's at the moment the dirtiest state. So it's talking about encouraging people to move away from gas appliances and go electric. And that's where we come back to the barbecue tongs. It seems that we're incapable of having a mature discussion in this country without having some ridiculous scare campaign. No, we're not coming after the barbecue tongs, but we do need to think about reducing emissions, cleaning up the planet for the health of our children and the people living here now and for the future. It's so very important.